What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out here with me. Thank you for spending a little bit of your precious time with me. It's Friday. It's, May 9th, 2025. This is part of the quick market update series on my YouTube, Cheds Trading. Make sure you've watched all the great free educational stuff I have for you. Start with the Masterclass tutorial playlist. Check out the free versions of my books. I've published 4 books. I've got versions of the first 3 that are free, and I'm working on the quotes, trading quotes. So I'll put some more videos out for you soon. Trading Journal is now available on Amazon. The reviews are in. People love it. It's a great book. Hope you get a chance to check it out. Of course, you know me on Twitter at Big Cheds. If you're looking for an exchange, check out BingX. They're integrated with TradingView. Very nice exchange. And of course, Bitcoin Live. I do a twice a week full market report every Wednesday night, every Sunday night. I actually did an emergency report last night, which is rare, you know, because the market's crazy. So let's jump into it. I like to do these updates, twice a week, Tuesday, Friday now. I like to do free content. I like to kind of just stay in touch with you folks and, continue to be part of the community. So I like creating content. That's why I'm here. It's your opportunity to ask some questions. Let me know what you're thinking, how you're feeling. Just fire away those questions in the chat room, and I will do my best to address as many as I can. We'll see how long this goes for. So Bitcoin, wow. What can you say about Bitcoin? Well, you can certainly step back and say it's quite impressive that the price did not pause at any of these levels that we would have thought it would have paused. 88K, 94.5, 98.5, even 100K, and now we're 103.5, and it's incredible strength. So if we kind of look back, let's go to the weekly chart, because I think it's helpful to get kind of an outside in perspective. So we talked a lot about the range low sweep and recover here. And getting long again at 81K and looking for a pause here, right? After holding the MA50, which has been important, high time frame, we've been looking for a pause, lower high, and not so much. Are we going to punch right through here? I mean, or are we going to pause? Are we doing what we did back in July, where we had this beautiful move, off of like a lower Bollinger dip on the weekly into like a lower highs that? Are we going to set it here? I don't know. It's hard to bet against the trend, the amount of strength we're seeing. And I think right now it's, again, not much you can do other than look for levels to trade with. Look for throwback levels. Understand that you've got price structure right around 95K that would be of interest. And you've got the overhead level. You've got the all-time high just above. And it's at a spot where I think it's kind of hard to handicap what it's going to do, because the price has not been logical, because the price has just been, straight up acceleration. And normally you would pause and consolidate here, given kind of the price structure. So I don't have, honestly, a really strong feel on what it's about to do. What it's doing right now. So, but I think it's helpful to look at the rest of the market and try to put that into perspective. If you look at Ethereum has been a no trade zone for quite a while. You could have maybe played it around here, but I've been waiting for a long trigger of 2150 and now long again, with the price back up above 2150, the high time frame pivot level. We are still, certainly not out of danger. On the weekly chart, we're still below the weekly MA200. We're still below, this resistance, lost support rather, now turned into resistance. But you have a very viable long thesis now re-triggered on Ethereum. And, as always, with broader market tops, you'd expect Ethereum to start to outperform. And yet some of that, but it's still no suggestion of the trend of Ethereum, underperforming, of that changing, of that turning around yet. You have a bounce here. There's just a mean reversion so far. And you can see where the price rejected at a kind of a logical spot in terms of the rejection of Ethereum's, performance versus Bitcoin here, right around 024 range. Even breaking back up above this wouldn't necessarily signify the top, or necessarily signify even that Ethereum's going to start to outperform, but it's certainly a level to watch and it's going to have to flip for that trend to change. Solana long since the 125 range, and recently had the throwback to 140. You've got that big level 180 above, so that's kind of all still the case. And a bunch of these altcoins like Sui's just straight ripping. Other ones are improved, like XLM flirting with the long trigger and a break of 30. ADA is doing a little bit better here, breaking above 75 cents, giving you a long trigger. So it's definitely an interesting market. Even TRX is now peaking out after kind of just being sleepy here for quite a while. So there's definitely some improvement in altcoins, and we're seeing some outperformance in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So what do we think? Like, how do we make? What kind of sense do we make of this? Because normally with this type of a Bitcoin move of this strength, you're not going to see Ethereum outperforming, but even outperforming this type of a move is impressive. And I think somewhat of the outperformance makes sense in that Ethereum has been underperforming so much recently. It's been such a just super weak chart here, still well below the daily MA200 where Bitcoin's, above it. So it's a very interesting picture. I honestly don't have, it's one of those times where I don't have a very strong feeling on what Bitcoin's about to do. I normally have a very good sense of it. And, I'm right like 80% of the time or something. It's hard to have a really strong sense of it. You could say, well, it's probably going to pause here at the all-time high, but you would have thought it would have paused at any number of these levels earlier along the way. So let's jump in with the chat room. Let's get a lively chat. I'm here for you folks. I'd love to hear your comments, your feedback, your questions. And, you can make this, make of this stream what you want. I'm trying to go live, a couple days a week here for, giving out good, and be public, public free content. So it's up to you to you have access to me now. Take a shot, ask me whatever you want. I'll try my best. And what's up, Martwan, Mike, Cliff, Dan, Turtles, and folks? Good to see you, folks. So Isalik says, Cheds, what about the volume? Enough for up only all-time high. Well, you actually don't really need volume. It's an uptrend, right? Volume is like what bears are looking for, right? When the price is already trending, you don't necessarily need volume to continue with the trend. You already have an imbalance in supply and demand, right? So you don't need volume to break an all-time high. It'd be nice to have volume on the breakout, but you don't need volume as the price is pushing towards the all-time high. The general concept is the most volume comes at the top and the bottom of a chart. So if we had, massive volume spikes, that might actually be more of a warning sign than anything. So it's not that, you need volume for all-time high. You've already got price pushing in that direction. That's already the trend. ESOL, because there's a little bit of people generally don't necessarily understand volume that much, or this is a very common misunderstanding where, for example, if you have the price will make an advance, whether it does a flag, a pennant, whatever, you have an advance, and you have a big volume spike in the initial advance, and the volume will kind of trail off. You'll have this volume trend as the price is consolidating. And, look, they'll say, the volume is weak volume, that's bearish. No, it's not, because most consolidation patterns will start out with high volume and it will trail off until the consolidation completes. And usually you'll continue with the trend. So you need volume generally to reverse a trend, not to continue with the trend. Let's see. What is the question here? Mike wants to know, could you chart TRX? Yeah, I was looking at it. It looks really strong. I mean, I've been bullish on it. I've talked a lot. I've been tweeting it. Your higher low to watch here, roughly right around 24 cents. Major Bollinger Pinch on the daily and the weekly. Yeah, I mean, definitely look at that tightening band on the daily for sure. And you can see it visually. You should, not too much of a surprise given it's essentially been sideways since January. But holding, rising demand and holding the MA200. Cliff says, I'm thinking if Bitcoin stays about 100K for a bit, maybe XRP will dip to 210-ish. I mean, that's a little bit of a 4D chess, right? Like if Bitcoin this, then XRP that. I don't know. I don't know that there's like a connection or a correlation, Cliff. So I'm not necessarily reading the market or looking at it that way. I mean, XRP is bullish, certainly above $2. Dan says, thanks for your free time. Thank you, Dan. Let's see. So Gilbert says, which of the two is stronger to blunt the strong advance, a doji or a spinning top? I mean, well, they can arguably be the same thing. It's a little bit of a nuance. Like, for example, and it's also context. Like, so this candle here, right? A doji means essentially no real candle body, but there's like a little. You can have up to 5% of the candle body range and still technically be a doji. But like some people, this is a spinning top, but I could also see this being called a doji because it's a real small body. So it's a little bit of nuance. Generally, a spinning top means any small candle body. Like that's a spinning top, right? Like this is actually a spinning top as well, even though the wicks aren't even up or down. They don't have to be. So there's a little bit of nuance, but it's more so where does it come, right? So this spinning top we had here after the advance. So spinning top after advance is a consolidation candle normally, and which is why I was actually surprised the price didn't pause here. And I've been looking for a pause in the consolidation. That weekly candle was a clue we were probably going to get it, but it was a fake out, right, and a push higher. So if you get that spinning top or the doji after a strong advance, it usually means the price will pause and consolidate. It's not a reversal candle. These are consolidation candles. Number one. Number two, the question is which one more? It's context. It's not necessarily doji versus spinning top, but I would say more so the construction of the range in that do you have a long upper shadow? So normally with a more of a predominantly upper shadow featured candle like this, would be more of a clue that the price will pause, right? So, for example, if you had, say, if you have a doji and you'd like really long lower shadow with a little bit of an upper versus a really long upper and a little bit of lower, like this candle, right after an event. Say both of these came. Hopefully, it's not too academic for you folks, but if both of these came after advances, this candle would be more of a warning sign because it's more of an upper shadow featured candle construction. So that's hopefully answering that question with a little bit of nuance. Talk about volume, talk about the doji. Hey, young Enzio, how you doing, man? I'm a swing investor. I'm very lost regarding altcoins. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Join the club, right? Although it's chart by chart, and I've been following, a set of charts here, and there's Sui's giving you some nice trades lately. Even TRX has grinded higher. Sol is giving you nice long entries. So chart by chart, there's been some opportunities for sure. But the questions regarding alt seems like we're on the verge of massive moves. Well, it just depends on charts, right? You asked me about a couple here. C pool. I'll take a quick look. I haven't looked at that one in a while. RSR USD says we're on the verge of massive moves. Well, I think you got to go chart by chart. Yeah, this one's doing okay. Do have a nice base break actually, on RSR, and actually is reasonably constructive here, which means positive for positive price structure. You have a very nice base break. So if as long as it holds above 009, RSR actually doesn't look that bad. So that's a decent looking chart. C pool, yeah, this one not so much. This is a much worse looking chart. So I don't like C pool that much. It is pushing towards the range peak here, but you really want to play. You want to play each chart one at a time, rather than thinking alts this, the altcoin that, alt season. One chart at a time. I do like RS. Sorry, I'm a little bit dry throated. I do like RSR rather more than C pool because RSR has broken out. It's above its peak. It's above a rising MA200. Here you have a flat trend, kind of a downtrend even, at least locally. So I really don't like C pool, certainly compared to RSR. Overall, the chart's not terrible on high time frame, but I'd much rather play RSR. Bilal, good to see you, man. He says, what's up, brother? How you doing? Kauk, how you doing? Hey, Ched. He says, Cheds, I know you don't like looking at Bitcoin dominance chart, and I get it, okay. But it seems to hit the top of the horizontal channel, and it's set to drop now. Is it? Is it? I mean, is it, though? Oh, my wife's calling me. Hold on 1 second. 1 second, folks. Yeah. Sorry about that. Wife called, had to take care of it. So is Bitcoin dominance topping off? I'm not so sure. I mean, because you have what? You have a drop from upper lower Bollinger Band and an uptrend. I mean, prices held MA50 here. It is possible that it's topped off, but let's look at the weekly chart. This is a very nice, super grinding higher in the weekly. It's way too early to call a top in this. And I understand people want this to be the top. They want Ethereum to Bitcoin to be bottom. They want Bitcoin dominance to have topped. Maybe that's the case, but there's, in my view, there's just not enough data. There's not enough information on that quite yet. I think you'd want to be a bull on this chart just based on the trend. So, Sakak, I don't know that you can make that call yet, that Bitcoin dominance has topped off. And that's my thought on that. But I've been saying this. I've been consistent on that for quite a while. We're looking at CRV grinding higher. Someone asked me about it. I do like it. Bullish, held on 58, 59 cents after the nice base break. It's kind of like C-Pool, but more advanced, like RSR rather. But it's advanced more, right? It's further along in its development. It's slowly grinding higher. The question is, I'm long since the break of 72, 74. Yeah, okay. Yeah, looks good. I like it. JC Vega, what's up, JC? JC says, what's up, Cheds? If it goes straight up from here, is it not healthy? I mean, it's hard to argue with it not being healthy. It's hard to say it's not healthy. I mean, yeah, the school of thought is that if it moves up without consolidating further, it's vulnerable in the future. But I mean, if in all fairness to the trend, it did have a pretty deep reset weekly, upper Bollinger to MA50. We're still within the Bollinger bands. You could perhaps on the weekly time frame push up to, even 118, 120, and then maybe come back and tag the MA50 at some point. Maybe it's up here at 98K. So, and that would be pretty healthy. So, I just like a slow, steady, grinding higher trend. It's easier to trade. It's more sustainable. But it's not, I don't think the price trend is at this moment in danger of being, unhealthy, to answer your question. All right, talked about CRB. Maybe we'll do a couple more. We got a bunch of requests. I'll do a couple more. SHIB, sure. Let's take a look at SHIB. I think Kraken maybe has more history. No, I got to get more history than that. Shibu Inu. I don't know that Coinbase has that much history, but let's take a little peek here. Yeah, I'm on weekly. That's why. None of these have that much history. So let's take a look at least on Coinbase. Yeah, it's not a, why are we, SHIB looks bad. Play something else. I mean, come on. Look at what's been going on. Look at the moves. Look at the moves that have been made. Like even like ADA and XLM and CRV and TRX SOL. Like, what are we doing with the SHIB here? This is a bad chart. I think you can do way, way, way better. Don't like the chart. Don't like it. Take a look at FET. Do a couple more requests here. FET, all right. Nice improvement back up above 75 cents. It's still a downtrend. So I'd rather go long in something else. But you've got some mojo, some momentum. If you're a bull, though, and it cannot hold here above maybe 75 cents, I think you have to move on, sell, and move on. So some improvement, but this is still a downtrend. So I think you're still not going to play this given the other choices you have in the market. There's so many different altcoins. People get caught up in their pet coins. Someone just asked about SHIB. They're probably stuck in it or holding it and thinking it's going to be the SHIB it was a couple years ago. I think you have to hit it and quit it, right? To be crude, I think you have to play an altcoin if there's a setup, try to profit from it, and then move on and play something else. Play the next best available setup. There's so many different charts. Don't fall in love with these. There's no reason to want to play FET versus, like I mentioned, any of these other altcoins that look stronger, even like HBAR, XLM, ADA, even Tau is definitely improving. For example, I just really, nice bounce on FET, but it's still a downtrend. It's still weak. Suckhawk says, Chad, you tell me the target of XLM. Target for what, though? What do you mean target? right? What do you mean target for what? I mean, you've got areas, areas of interest. You can draw a target. You can take this measured move and extend it higher, but you've got problems, resistance in the way, obstacle, right, in the way of that price target. So, it's unlikely to just punch through 33, 34 cents. Target for what would be what I would say. Even like I said, you said you want a target for your inverted head and shoulders. You cannot just look at the target. Even let's say you do, bull rectangle. And you take the target, you extend it out. Problem is, if there's all this structure here, like I just drew in the middle of the obstacles in the way of your targets, you cannot look past price structure. Okay, folks, hopefully you've checked out my book on Amazon. The new book is out. I've got my first 3 books for free versions of them. Enjoy all the free learning materials. I just wanted to pop in and say hi and do a quick update for you folks. Every Tuesday and Friday, I'll try to do those. I may take breaks here and there, like I was just on vacation, so I do skip the YouTubes, but I never skip. Bitcoin Live every Wednesday, Sunday night, full market report. I actually did an emergency report last night. I'm going to wrap it up here. My wife called me. I need to talk to her. It's been fun. I could sit here and do all your altcoin requests, but I'm not going to do that. It would take too much time, but hopefully I've added some value. Hopefully I've added my voice to the conversation, and I want to say thank you. I hope you folks are doing well. Try to catch me on Tuesday, and I'll be here then, or see me in Bitcoin Live. Drop me a line on Twitter, and I'll talk to you folks soon. Thanks for hanging out, and be well.